It's Friday. Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome. If you are a returning friend who has joined us in the past, welcome back. Thank you so much for tuning back in for today's awesome show. And if you are new, welcome to our new show. And we certainly appreciate having you here. My name is Dallas Hardcastle with Make Today Mammoth. And we are focusing on our separator series. And what that means is we are specifically looking at how can your business become easier and more hopefully fulfilling, much more profitable, and even a simpler, more focused model by really putting in the extra effort in making sure that you are creating a business that is different, that is deliberately separate from others, that is kind of that one of one, so that competition cannot exist. What's the best way that we can try to eliminate competition? It's by making all of the extra efforts and putting in very specific systems to have us look different, have us be different, have us result different, build different, sell different, market different. All of those things that gives us, that allows us, that we earn the right. Oh, I'm doing this whole thing. This is hilarious. Wow. This is how focused, I guess, you can get, is you can just start going and forget your mic. Is that funny or what? Well, anybody who wasn't hearing that, I don't know if we can just oh my heavens, I was finishing up a text literally like 20 seconds before replying to somebody for some business stuff and answering a question of them. They were actually asking a question about a couple different businesses and scalability of them. And I sent the thing, oh God, probably 20 seconds before, and then lights on. And then we just went, and this is what you get, right? You forget little things like microphones. So anyway, everybody, welcome. Dallas Hardcastle, Make Today Mammoth Separator Series. I hope you're having an amazing Friday. And let's get right into it today, because this is one of the things that it took me a lot of years to learn. And it's just, it's hilariously painful now. But the reason it took me so long, I'm going to point the finger at others here. Okay. It wasn't a me thing for sure. No, it was, all through my business life, of course. All through my business life, when I was starting off and figuring out sales as a late teen, early 20s, 30s, like on and on and on, right? Like we're talking like, decades. And the focus was always on customers and volume, meaning that it was always based on, let's get more prospects, more clients, more prospects, more clients, more prospects, more clients. That was always the focus. So even when I was being given these gifts, which they were absolutely gifts of being able to sell in a here, get this over here, but being able to sell at I think it was probably my very first sales job was selling these high-end men's suits, and they were probably 3 or 4 times what the average men's suit would be. And we were in some mall up in Canton, Ohio, and I was selling these, and you could literally walk 150 feet to another store inside the mall there. And when we were selling, $400 and $500 suits, you could walk down there and get $150 suit. Ties, we would sell. And again, this is going back like decades, right? So it was, the numbers were a lot different back then. These today, I don't know if that'd be akin to maybe I don't know, whatever it is, a $1,200 or $1,500 suit today. Vis-a-vis maybe a $300 or $400 suit that is kind of probably more, I guess, more average, more normal today. But these are $1,200, $1,500 suits. Very nice suits, right? A lot of them made overseas, all that good stuff. So, same thing with the tie, right? They'd come in and get this Italian silk ties, and ours were $40 and $50. And again, you could go to the next place, 100 feet away, and it would be, a $15 or $20 tie. Shirts, pocket silks, socks, all of it, right? And like belts, that was the deal, right? They would come in, somebody's looking for like just a belt, and they'd come in and pick up a belt, and it'd be whatever, $50 or $60. They'd be like, oh my God, I can go down there and get one for 15. You're like, yes. Like, We know. So, but even with that, it was always about volume, 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 right? More clients, more clients, more clients, more clients. And it took me, unfortunately, a really long time in business to be able to figure out and to have someone really just point out to me candidly. It's like you're focusing on the wrong thing. You're focusing on client volume, client volume, client volume, always getting more clients, more clients, more clients. What you want to be focusing on is profit. And I'm like, well, we kind of need both, right? Well, you kind of need both, but the way in which you do it is so different, because if we're just focusing on, and this, it get a little meta here, right? It's like, if we're only focusing on the client volume, then we tend to have our metrics skewed towards looking at these volume plays. Like, we need to get more and more and more of a client. Like, we're focusing on that, rather than if we're going more for how can we create a high profit model. Then we begin, I found in my case, I began asking a lot of really different questions. And those questions are what I think are the juice of how to really do this well. Um, a lot of people, I think, including me, really believe that like higher profit was just about like, we'll just charge more, right? Like, hey, there's a good thing about charging more. So yes, you charge more and you get more profits naturally. But the thing I think that is most often missed is that the high profits is all about earning the right. It's earning the right to be able to charge that, because there has been a lot more time, energy, effort, creativity, and intentionality around how can I make this thing like not just even more valuable, but so freaking valuable that people are wanting to use it. They're wanting to share it with other people. They're wanting people to know about the thing that they're doing, and they're wanting to share it. And that's truly based on raving fan metric. Like, when you're building your products and or services, how can it be a raving fan solution? A raving fan solution, not always, but in my experience, tends to be the one that we can afford to really invest even more into the client. Even more we can give back. And just, a couple examples, because sometimes people are like, what do you mean by give back to the customer? Well, in just very, very simple measures, right? Like, we go into a car dealership, just simple. If we walk into a Honda dealership, or if you walk into a Lexus dealership, or if you walk into a Rolls-Royce dealership, the level at which they can take care of you, they can serve you, are just wildly different. And if you haven't done this before, please do it. It's wildly different. Wildly different. I mean, the first time I was driving, I was driving all the things I was driving when I was younger. And then the first time I went out and bought a BMW, and I was like, oh, wow, this is really different. And like what the inside of the dealership looked like, how it was furnished, the people that were helping us, simple things like when we were waiting, and it was like they had like their their espresso machine, and they had a plate of the cookies, and it's like, oh, there's an issue, well, here, just use another one of our really nice BMWs, and in fact, we're going to give you a more expensive model because we're kind of hoping to upsell you down the road here, maybe in a year, 2 or 3, when it's time for you to upgrade. So there was just all of this stuff, the way they service, the service manager walking out into the service area, the service bay, the technicians, the way they took care of your car, the way they again, it was an expense for them, but they saw the expense as you took the thing in there to get an oil change, and they freaking cleaned your car inside and out. You got back an immaculate car. They weren't doing that at the Toyota dealership when I was driving a Toyota, right? They just weren't doing that. So you go in there and you drive that, and then it's a different experience. Same thing, go into like elite, high level, Rolls Royce dealership, et cetera, et cetera. You can imagine. That's one level, one easy level, but let me put it into a services level. A services level, if you're selling services, means that if you're selling your thing for, cheap, let's just say it's a discount item, or maybe even if it's just standard pricing, then there's only so much profit there that you can actually kind of pour back into your customer or your client. But if you're doing some kind of a service, and if you are then charging maybe an extra several $100s, or maybe it's a couple $1,000s more, whatever that service is that you're doing, and it's much more profitable, so you can actually take some of that and you can say, oh, and as a surprise, we're going to go ahead and do these integrations for you. We're going to go ahead and have this written for you. We will get this designed for you. We will get this thing deployed for you. We will bring in an ads consultant and go ahead and give you an overview of how we would run paid ads for this. Or we're going to send you some surprises. We're going to send you a journal. We're going to send you a pen. We're going to send you some, some merch. We're going to send you some hats. We're going to send you some shirts, whatever those things are. But these are things where it adds value. And in any customer client, at the end of the day, I mean, we can all figure it out, right? Like, I think, again, this is an area where people just kind of mess it up. Is they're like, well, people figure that out, right? You just charge more and then you give them more stuff back. Yes. Like anybody with an IQ knows this stuff, right? It doesn't mean it doesn't work like crazy, right? It doesn't mean that when you walk into a hotel room, and if it's $100 for one hotel room, and that may be the one that also has like the free continental breakfast or whatever downstairs, and then the other one's maybe $300 or $400, and you walk in there and they're like, well, no wonder, you paid an extra $300 or $400. Exactly. So when you walk in there and the room has nicer features and amenities, when you walk in there and the room has your towels folded in certain ways and like these little animals, and they got some chocolates on there, and there's a reason why maybe there's like a welcome kit, would go out to Vegas and they're like, oh yeah, we're going to, you're going to get into your suite. And it's like, cool. So we paid several $100s more to get into the suite, right? Several hundred. And then you get in there and you're like, oh, okay, well, this is where some of the money went, of course. But that doesn't matter, because you still feel amazing. Because I would walk into the suite and there sitting at the bar was like, this pail of ice with like a bottle of champagne in it, a couple flutes for the champagne. And then next to it was this really cool snack platter where they had like these chocolates and crackers and cheeses and meats and all this stuff. Maybe, I don't know, a $30 or $40 snack plate. And maybe another, whatever that would have been their cost, $30 or $40. So maybe they put $60, $80, $100 in goodies back into the room. But that's really cool. See, it works. It still works. And then they have the turn down service. And then, they had the ladies coming in, sometime it would be like late in the morning or early in the afternoon, and they would come in and clean like every day. And when I say clean, I don't mean like most, if you stay in whatever hotel it is, and they come in and maybe they're going to make your bed and clean up or put stuff away, whatever. I mean, these ladies were like polishing the brass. Like she was in there polishing the brass, cleaning, sweeping. Like when she came into the suite, she was in there for like 30, 40 minutes. Both of the bedrooms, both of the bathrooms. Like I said, she was literally like wiping down the lights, the globes, the brass, like mopping floors. I'm like, oh my God, like that's cool. Right. So all of this is to say that you can choose a path that personally, I think, is a far greater path and far easier to separate yourself by choosing to focus on profits rather than the volume of clients. So rather than saying, oh, I want to make sure we get 20 clients or 100 clients this month, have it be something more like, I want to make sure that we make 10,000 or 30,000 or 80,000 in profits this month. Because with those profits, not only can you step your game up so you can invest more into your platform, more into your softwares, more into your knowledge, more into your skill set, more into your team, hire more people, train more people. Not only can you do all of those things, earned the opportunity to be able to go and now give back to your clients. So if you didn't have 100 clients come in making skinny profits, but maybe you had 10 come in making really healthy profits, not only can you now actually invest back in the business, but you can invest back into your clientele. That's super important. Like super important to be able to invest into them. You get it? So they're paying premium. But premium is one of the ways where you can really stand apart. So rather than your solution maybe being a partial solution, you can maybe deliver a total solution. I see this a lot. People delivering part of a solution and it's this fixed price rather than they could have added maybe $500 or $1,000 or $5,000 to their thing. And then they could have provided another one or two or three parts to this solution. So rather than, the thing that I kind of, for whatever reason, I guess I ID'd fairly early on in my sales stuff. And especially when I moved to the online space, was seeing so many people that they would come in and they're just like, focus on sale. It's like, hey, let me help you with a sales script or help train up your salesperson. And that's fine. There's a place for that for sure. And I did it too. But there was so much stuff going on before the appointment ever arrived that it was just killing the deal. It was like, well, like, okay, here's the script and here's everything that they're saying, and that's all good. But like, where did they come from? What did they see on the page? What did the video say? What did they see before they went there? What are they seeing between the time that they scheduled the appointment and the time that they're getting on the phone call with you? Like, what are all of these things that are going on before the call? What is their expectation? What do you think this is? Meaning the prospect. What views of your brand have they seen moving into this point? What does all of this mean to them? So being able to then add the areas where it's like, well, rather than it just being sales, let's help with the marketing part, the pieces that are happening before that sales call, because I want to add value. I want them to get more sales, more conversions, more money, more clientele. Well, what's another way we can do that? Well, we can start looking at what do they do right after? Like someone hands you the credit card and what do you do? Well, we take the thing and then, within a couple days and we usually send them this thing. It's like, no. You do this immediately, send them this stuff immediately. Like this has to happen within minutes of them, giving you the credit card, because the clock starts, like literally they give you the number, the clock starts. So if you're waiting a couple days, that's why you're getting these high refund requests. They're like, oh yeah, well, they did it this one would happen to be on a Friday afternoon. So that's why they didn't receive anything until Monday. Terrible. Can't do that. Right. That's a glaring leak. That's a glaring refund leak in their business, because someone gave you their credit card maybe for a $5,000 or $10,000 thing, and now they're sitting there all weekend and they haven't heard anything from you, from anybody, right? Like no good, no bueno, can't do it. So being able to figure out, okay, what do we do after the sale? How do we perform the delivery of items after the sale? What are the immediate touches that they're receiving right afterwards? So all of this to say, when you're looking at a way to be able to grow your business, when you're looking at a way to be able to become more quote unquote successful in your business, to make more money in your business, there's going to be these two different things we can do. We can look at, oh, I need more clients. I need to add another, 10, 30, 50, 100, 500 clients. Or we can say, I want to add another 10 or 30 or 50,000 a month to my business. Profits, not sales. I want to become a more profitable entity so that I can invest more into my business, more into my people, and more into my clients, my customers. When I do that, we're going to have a more satisfying, fulfilling experience for ourselves, for the team, for our clients, for our partners, for our affiliates, anyone that's working with you, for our joint ventures. Any of these things, it stacks in your favor so much. But then we're required to go and ask different questions. How do I become more valuable? How do I add more strategy into what I'm doing so that it becomes a more desired asset for other people? How do I make this so that they're telling other people? How do I make this so that the referrals start coming in even more so, because the brand is seen as the thing that people try and then they want to share it with other people? When we get there, when we get to that place, you're going to start to be able to find that spending that time, spending that energy and devoting it into asking different questions so that you can earn the right to become a higher profit business becomes much, much more important than the other, which is, how do I get another 20 clients? How do I get another 20 customers? Because that just keeps you on the treadmill. That just keeps you on the wheel, month after month after month. And unfortunately, I have absolutely been there, absolutely done that. And that is a by far more stressful way of running a business, I assure you. So friends, if you have anything, I don't know if you see at the bottom here, but we have a little scroll here. Continuing with our separator series. If you look at the bottom, and if you want to check that out and go there, schedule a time to talk with us, that would be very cool. We always love it. If you have any questions for me, feel free to send me an email, dallas@maketodaymammoth.com. That's dallas@maketodaymammoth.com. Feel free to leave us a comment, a good old like or whatever. The greatest thing you can do, hopefully, is if this has been valuable, and if you think there's someone else that you know that could be used, that could use this information and that could be served by hearing this, please feel free to share this information with them, of course, as well. Leave us any kind of a comment. Let us know if you have a question. And again, if you don't want to ask your question or leave your comment kind of in that public forum, then feel free to shoot the email, dallas@maketodaymammoth.com, or just shoot me a direct message, either on Facebook or LinkedIn are the two best ways to be able to reach me. Friends, it is Friday. We are blessed. I hope you are grateful. Understand all of the great things that we can create and make happen just today, just by deciding today's going to be a day I'm going to go for it really, really hard, really intentionally. And I'm not going to just do the best I can. I'm going to do what's required to make it happen. So friends, have a beautiful Friday. We're blessed as always. Just make today mammoth, and we will look forward to talking with you again tomorrow. Take care, everybody.